I remember myself about 10 years ago, just an ordinary guy working as a waiter in a small cafe in Podol. The salary was tiny, the shifts exhausting, but that's when my dream was born. Every day I watched people come into cafes and realized they weren't just looking for food. They wanted comfort, atmosphere, a place where they could feel part of something bigger. And somewhere deep inside me, an idea appeared. One day, I would open my own cafe in the center of Kyiv. Of course, back then it sounded almost crazy. I had no money. No connections either. The only things I had were persistence and a willingness to work myself to the bone. I decided to start small, reading books on business, learning from chefs, asking cafe owners for advice whenever I had the chance. After every shift, I'd sit at home with a notebook and jot down ideas. I even covered my walls with scraps of paper that read, "Atmosphere, honesty, comfort is the main product." At the same time, I started saving. That was the hardest part. Life in Kyiv wasn't cheap, but I set a goal, to put aside at least 30% of every paycheck. That meant no extra spending, no vacations, barely going to the cinema or restaurants. My friends joked I was living like a monk, but I knew it was an investment in my future dream. After 5 years of this, I finally had enough money to make something real happen. I started looking for a space. Honestly, it felt like torture. Either the rent was impossible, or the location was wrong, or the place was in such terrible condition that renovation would cost more than the property itself. But then I stumbled upon an old building right in the center of Kyiv. Brick walls, arched windows, high ceilings. Yes, it was neglected, but I instantly saw its potential. I felt it. This was my place. Renovation was another story. I couldn't afford professional builders, so I did most of it myself. My friends helped. Someone painted the walls, someone carried furniture, someone fixed the wiring. We worked at night. By day, I still had my waiter job. By evening, I was back at the construction site. Sometimes I literally fell asleep with a paintbrush in my hand, but there was an energy inside me that wouldn't let me stop. I knew all of it would be worth it. I wanted my cafe to be special. Not just a place to eat, but somewhere people could walk in and feel at home. The design was cozy, warm lighting, lots of wood, shelves filled with books, and a vinyl collection I'd been building for years. The menu was simple but honest. Quality ingredients, no unnecessary fuss, but everything made with care. I'll never forget the first day we opened. That morning, I was filled with anxiety. Would anyone even come? In the end, a few friends showed up, a couple of acquaintances, and some random passers-by. I smiled like a kid, even when there were only 2 guests in an hour. I went out to the tables myself, told stories about the dishes, served coffee. I wanted each guest to feel my sincerity. The first months were tough. Money was tight. Sometimes I had to borrow just to buy products. But people started coming back. At first, friends brought friends. Then someone left a review online. Slowly, word of mouth began to spread. Guests would say things like, "It feels so cozy here, like visiting a friend's home." To me, that was the highest compliment. Eventually, I was able to hire a small team, a cook, a barista, a few waiters. I always told them, "We're not selling food. We're selling mood. A guest should leave here happy." And they embraced that idea. Today, I see my staff smiling at customers, caring for each person, and I know it works. Now my cafe has become part of the center of Kyiv. Students and businessmen come, tourists and locals alike. Some arrive with laptops for breakfast, others for dinner with family. And every day, I greet my guests with a smile. Sometimes, watching the cafe full of people, I remember myself 10 years ago, the guy scribbling dreams into a notebook after his shift. I proved to myself that persistence can reshape reality. Everything I have today is the result of hard work, sleepless nights, and refusing to take the easy way. And you know what? The most important thing I've learned is this: if you truly believe in your dream and work for it every single day, the city, especially a vibrant one like Kyiv, will eventually open its doors to you.